Will the virtuous Sangha out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tạng thính, vì thứ pháp hội cập nhật thiết chúng sanh, thịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân nhau đạo ngã môn, như há liêu sanh thoát từ ly khổ đạc lạc, tốc chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Namo Sananto Suchedo Ye Alahadi San Miao San Puto Xie. Namo Tang Nakha Toya Daya Alahade Tamio Tambo Da Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu sheng sheng she wei miao fa bai jie wan jie nan zao yu wo jin jie wu de shou qu yan jie Ru Lai Cha Shi Yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Huineng, Venerable Shén Xiù, Venerable Left Home people, and all good no advisors, Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Lục Tổ, Hòa Thượng Tiến Hóa, quý thầy cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Chư Phật Bồ Tát, 六祖师父上人，各位出家人，各位善知识，阿弥陀佛。Today is the 10th of January, the year 2021. We are, thank you for coming to join our discussion of the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We are, what happened? Is there a present mode here? We are, how come there's no present mode? We are discussing the chapter 8, sudden gradual enlightenment. Thank you. Okay, we're on slide 240, towards the end of chapter 8. It's not much work left to do. The sutra is nearing the end, so it might take another year or so at the rate we're going. But in general, it is such a treat to be able to investigate the sutra together with all of you in conjunction with the Avatamsaka Sutra last night. So it's kind of cool because you have a combination of perfect teaching and the sudden teaching. I, in general, love to anything about the 6th Patriarch Sutra. I would like to put my hands on and devour it. Hopefully, after this, maybe we can find other sutras or other teachings on the 6th Patriarch that we can continue to investigate. To me, he's the Chan master. No two doubt, and no two ways about it. For example, he became enlightened through the Vajra Sutra. So when I first explained the Vajra Sutra, he first investigated the Vajra Sutra. Actually, he came and taught me, helped me understand some of the points he made. I couldn't understand back then. So I have conditions with him as well. And so when I explained the Vajra Sutra years ago, like several years ago, I focused more on the first half, because the Vajra Sutra has basically two parts. The first part is for Hinayana level teachings, and second part so the first part is for sound hearers, the second part is for Bodhisattvas. So my master, in deference to the first American patriarch, Master Hsuan Hua, I only focus more on the first part, the Hinayana part of the 6th Patriarch of the Vajra Sutra. Second half, Bodhisattva level, I glossed over it because I didn't want to go into my master's teachings. At the same time, I was waiting for the second patriarch to surface. I figure, it's been like almost 20 years. So if he needs to do his work, he has to come out sooner or later. Lo and behold, even until now, he still decided to hide his rear end. So I'm not holding back anymore. I've waited long enough. Too old, and don't have much time left. I want to retire as soon as possible as well, while I still can. But anyway, maybe one day I explain more, go back to the second half of the Vajra Sutra and explain it. Given that we try to explain the Avatamsaka Sutra to you, it's a very important sutra in my mind. That's why my master, Master Hsuan Hua, spent 10 years explaining it. So it's how important it is. So I'd love to add more to it, because that's a very important part of Mahayana. And like, for example, last night, we talked about the three worthies and so forth. That's the kind of information my master talked about years ago, 20 years ago. And unfortunately, his descendants never really elaborated on that. So that when I was practicing, I was looking for clues. They weren't very helpful. So that's why we're going to change things. We can't wait for them anymore. We're going to go our ways. They do theirs, we do ours. All right? Oh, okay, 2:40. I'm calm. Sutra text. One day, the master addressed the assembly as follows. I have one thing. It has no head or tail, no name or label, no back or front. Do you all know what it is?
一日，师告众曰：无有一物，无头无尾，无名无字，无背无面，诸人还知否？
无尾 or 无尾? The tail.
无头无尾。
无尾. Okay, thank you. I thought I remember tail is 尾. Okay, I hurt. See, my ears hurt like way. So, okay, commentary in 241. One day, the master asks his disciples, he says, I have a thing that has no head or tail, no name or label, no back or front. Who knows what it is? And so no one answered. All right? 242, Sutra text. Shén Xiù stepped forward and said, it is the root source of all Buddhas, Shén Xiu's Buddha nature.
神会出曰：是诸佛之本源，神会之佛性。
So the Samar Alec boy, who is his attendant, stepped forward and had to be naughty about it. It says, it is the source, root source of all Buddhas, Shén Xiu's Buddha nature. So basically, it's my Buddha nature. All right? Next, 244, Sutra text. The Master said, I just told you that it has no name or label, and you immediately call it the root source of all Buddhas. Go and build a thatched hut over your head. You're nothing but a follower who pursues knowledge and interpretation.
诗曰：向汝道，无名无字，汝便唤作本源佛性。汝向去有把帽盖头也，只成个知解宗徒。
So Master immediately scolded him. 245 commentary. It says, immediately scolded this kid, this enlightened kid. I just told you, it has no name or label, and you immediately call it the root source of all Buddhas. So he caught immediately. He says, there's no name. Why do you call it, we call it the root source of all Buddhas? Didn't you hear me well? So next, 246. Go and build a thatched hut over your head. You're nothing but a follower who pursues knowledge and interpretation. No, it's commentary. You don't need to say anything. Oh, translation. Sorry. Okay, so Master Hsuan Hua's commentary was, he says, he interprets Master Huineng's scolding of the boy Shén Xiù. Actually, remember, this is an enlightened master, and yet he scolded him without any hesitation. Okay? He says, Master Hsuan Hua says, in the ranks of Chan school, said the master, you're nothing but a scholar. You have no genuine understanding. You're a bookworm. You repeat things that you read, you heard. Nothing original about you. So that's not real knowledge. So my comment was, in a way, the master's scolding was a compliment. It isn't easy to be a Shan scholar at the school of those who know and interpret. It's true. That is, he's very well read. So what's the matter with it? What's wrong with saying, what's his answer? And that's the lesson here is very important, because yes, is because it relates to the future generations who are so focused on trying to understand, trying to interpret the teachings, okay, trying to acquire knowledge, okay, and that's a sickness of the followers, of the students. Okay, they're trying too hard. So he says, go and build a thatched hut over your head. You're nothing but a follower pursues knowledge and interpretation. What does he mean by? What do he mean by go and build a thatched hut over your head? Huh? Anyone? What does he mean? Pink.
Master, I think Shén Hui's answer is coming from his intellect, it's not springing up from his wisdom, and so he's suggesting he needs to cultivate or practice to generate his own source of wisdom.
But why says go and build a thatched hut over your head?
Doesn't it mean to go cultivate?
Go cultivate. Couldn't he say, go to Korea? There's a humor somewhere there. For one person only. Maybe two. Go to Korea. Huh? Yes, Blue.
Master, is he instructing him to go build a way place, a shelter where he can cultivate?
Go to another way place and what?
Building a way place, like building a shelter where he can cultivate and gain understanding.
Build a shelter where he can cultivate. Okay. All right. You too.
Alta-D says he means get away from everybody so he can think for himself.
And think for himself. I see. Okay. Basically, he says, go away. He says, just you go away. The more you hang around here, the more you continue to do the wrong thing. You pursue knowledge and you try to interpret. That's all you do. Every time I lecture to you, you sit there avidly and take notes and memorize everything so that you can regurgitate later, okay, and add your own interpretation, okay. So go away. You don't deserve to be here. How is that for insulting someone, a kid who is very, very devoted to him? And after the kid is gone, who knows who's going to take care of his chamber pot? You know, back then they have running plumbing. You have no real plumbing, so at night they use chamber pots, and it needs to get taken care of daily. Okay, and these small inconveniences, okay, that it makes it difficult for a great master to look cool, carrying your own chamber pot. So he says, go away, build thatched hut over your head. Okay? What's the relationship between that and a follower who pursues knowledge? The key is a follower. All you do is follow us. Okay? And so why don't you be original? Why don't you take initiatives and be responsible for yourself? Okay? What does it mean? actually it means it's a high compliment of this kid, because he says it's time for you to move on and stop following, stop imitating. You are able at this point to develop your own interpretation, your own knowledge. You have to stop copying me. You have to stop imitating me. Okay? So this tells you that Shén Hui is at a fairly high level already as a kid. That's very impressive. Right? 247 Sutra text. After the Master's extinction, Shén Hui went to Jinluo, where he propagated Cao Xi certain teaching. He wrote this Xian Zong Ji, which circulated widely throughout the land. He's known as Chan Master Heze. Oh, wow.
祖师灭后，汇入经络，大弘曹溪顿教，著显宗记，盛行于世，是为菏泽禅师。
248 commentary from Great Master Hsuan Hua. When the 6th Patriarch died, Shén Hui went to capital Luoyang to spread a certain teaching, the Chan school. Interestingly, he didn't go away to a thatch hut. You notice that? This kid here really does not listen to instructions. Now you know why he has to call him. He say, hey, cut it out. Stop it. But no, it didn't work to this kid. That goes to prove again he was so high level that even the scolding didn't work. That's my point precisely. If you were like a Linji school, they beat you up and they scold you and they yell at you and you become enlightened. This kid here, the great master yelled at him and scolded him and ridiculed him to no effect. That's the difference. This is a higher level Linji school, as I maintained in the past. You see that? It doesn't work anymore. It's not me, right here, the proof from the 6th Patriarch and Great Master Shén Hui. Let's be careful. He might be around somewhere here. He might be pissed off at us if we're not polite and respectful. So he died, Master 6th Patriarch died. He went to the capital Luoyang to spread the certain teaching. How many Chan masters can say that I'm spreading the certain teaching? And he didn't go to another mountain, and build a monastery like the tradition of these great monks. No. He went to the capital, okay, and started another lineage, another Chan school there. It's so impressive, So all those years of carrying the chamber pots seems to help a lot. Later, wrote Xian Zong Ji. Okay, so he wrote a teaching, a treatise on the northern southern schools, okay, which exposed Shén Hui as a false pretender and proclaimed the southern patriarch Hui Neng as a real 6th patriarch. You see, so he went out and did something controversial and went right to the capital of the country, Luoyang, okay, and wrote a treatise, analyzing, differentiating between the southern school as certain teaching, and northern school as gradual teaching. But actually, that northern school gradual teaching is actually will not lead you to enlightenment. The next generation to enlightenment. Why would he do that? And he also says, Shén Xiù was a false pretender. Okay, and then he told everyone the 6th Patriarch is a real patriarch. So why would he do that? It's for the sake of the Chan school. Okay, and that is, while the 6th Patriarch was alive, he wouldn't care less. If people came to him or people built him temples and so forth, okay, his job is not, he's not worried about fame or reputation and comfort. Did he ever retire? We need to look into that. Okay. But yes, Blue, you have an opinion about that?
Maybe just a small comment on the translation.
Yes.
I think you can remove false from in front of pretender.
He's what?
I think we can remove false before
For pretender.
He's just
see.
a pretender. He's not fake news. He's just a pretender.
He's just a false.
Just pretender.
He's a false teacher. He's a pretender.
False
he's a
teacher.
false teacher.
Yeah.
He's a false teacher. He's just a pretender. Very good. It's much better. Let's make the correction. It's our jobs, in very small ways even, that correct the semantics and grammar so that the English-speaking people can have better appreciation what the subtleties of these teachings. Absolutely, I appreciate it. Okay, we all. To me, this is a collaborative effort. We all need to contribute in our small ways to the better understanding of this beautiful Mahayana teachings. Okay, right. So he says. So when the 6th Patriarch was alive, he wouldn't care less what people thought of him, and his focus was to propagate the certain teaching. And how did he do that? He never paid attention to what Shen Hui was doing. In fact, he did something is very nice. He never really actually badmouthed Shen Hui. Why not? Why not? Green.
Like he never badmouth Shén Xiù, not Shén Hui, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, Shén Xiù. Yeah, thank you. Shén Xiù, he never badmouthed Shén Xiù. He even said, I don't know, you should go to Shén Xiù who receive royal patronage, who they learn, Why didn't he badmouth Shén Xiù? Yes, Blue.
Because bad-mouthing him and naming him by name would only add credibility to his position.
No, make more enemies. You don't know what you're talking about, my friend.
To Shén Xiù, sorry if I say it correctly, to SX's position.
Actually, what happened in the real world is this. Shén Xiù has his own followers. They are really very devoted and faithful followers of Shén Xiù, because he's been with him for years. Okay, and he's near the 5th Patriarch. He's received his training from 5th Patriarch. So a lot of his the 5th Patriarch disciples follow Shén Xiù, as well as their friends and families and so forth. So he has a very strong base. And in our world, if you touch them, you only alienate those people. It's not helpful, okay? Because they don't know any better. If you tell them, Shén Xiù is enlightened or he's not enlightened teacher, they cannot tell the difference. They don't care, frankly. They want to go to Shén Xiù and bow and meditate and be happy there. That's all they want. Okay? So in general, what the 6th Patriarch did do was help us in a future generation in a couple of ways. Number one, there's no point in criticizing the others. Okay, the other teachers, because the Buddhist followers are very loyal, or Catholic followers for that matter. There's no point. Okay, let them be. Okay, the YouTube.
Mary Jo says he doesn't discriminate.
He doesn't discriminate. He says, what's a big deal? Sudden teaching, gradual teaching is the same to me. Okay, it's all Chan. Whether I have the sudden teaching, but you are not ready for it, it's useless to you. Go to Shén Xiù and learn from there until you're ready. Yes? It's no point. So it's no rivalry, it's no competition. Okay? The Shén Xiù, it has its role in the world of Buddhism, as does God, as does Lao Tzu, as does Confucius, as does Allah, as does Mohammed. There's no problems. Okay? There's no competition. There's no problems at all in the 6th Patriarch's eyes. Okay? So that's why he never said anything. Okay? Okay? Then why did Shén Xiù proclaim that Shén Hui proclaimed that Shén Xiù is a false teacher, as a pretender? He's jealous, clearly, right? He says, I'm better than Shén Xiù. How come he has more disciples? No? Wouldn't that be against the policy or the philosophy of the 6th Patriarch, not to expose others? What's the problem? Didn't you learn about non-discrimination from him? Didn't you learn to coexist with others? Didn't you learn to embrace others as who they are? Huh? You weren't there. We weren't there, so we really don't know what's his motivation. But you have to understand, for anyone to dare say that I'm teaching, I'm propagating a certain teaching, his level, Chan level is very high. No two ways about it. Okay? In the history of Chinese Chan, there aren't that many teachers who say, I'm teaching the certain teaching school. There aren't. That's a fact. Look at that, like even in our Weiyang school, Weiyang lineage, how many Chinese teachers? Weiyang are Chinese lineage, okay? Now we turn it into a U.S. American is too long. I hate the word American for some reason, because American really is not American. It could be, Vietnamese, you ask me. Or, Mexican. American really has no American. American is like bouillabaisse. The French bouillabaisse, the famous French bouillabaisse, Oh, you Koreans don't know anything, do you? Bouillabaisse is very famous soup, seafood soup, where they catch the freshest fish, and then the crabs and the lobsters and the shrimps and all those things. It's fantastic. So you go to southern France, Marseille and so forth, you need to have the bouillabaisse, okay? It's one of the things I still miss in my prior life. Good French food and wine. Anyway, so how did I go into that? You Koreans always trip me. Anyway, so what Shén Hui did is very, very important, in my humble opinion. He says, during my master's time, I honor him. Whatever he did, I would never go against him. Okay? I would not do anything to mitigate his teaching or have any thing to compete with his teaching. Okay? So even when Shén Hui is ready, even the after the 6th Patriarch says, go build a hut, go away, go away. Okay? He didn't. He still carried the chamber pots. Okay? Didn't know what the 6th Patriarch did to make it worse for him. But I would. But after his teacher died, okay, he devoted his life to serve his teacher. And after his teacher died, okay, what did he do? Oh, he continued to devote his life to serve his teacher. This is very, very Chinese. I don't think nowadays people do this anymore. You know what I'm talking about? He says, my life, he gave me my wisdom life. So I'm going to devote my life to serve him. Okay? So he served him until he died. And after he died, he continued to serve him. By doing what? I said, one of my master's biggest contribution is the certain teaching. So I'm going to propagate that. Okay? So that's what he did. Okay? And he went to the center of the country, the capital, where you have all these great monks, eminent monks. And so he went into the lion's den, if you will. Okay, all these people who are entrenched, who receive royal patronages. Okay, he went there and stirred up everything. Okay, in order to serve his teacher. Not about him, it's about his teacher. Okay, he chose to expose Shén Xiù as not a patriarch. You could say that, you could interpret this as he says, that's clarify a lineage of the Chan school. 6th Patriarch is real patriarch, Shén Xiù is no patriarch. Because when his teacher was alive, Master Huineng would never bother to say anything like that. But next generation, you only have to do, when he was alive, all you have to do is go over there and talk to him, ask him questions. You know from his teaching, from his presence, that he's for real. There's no need to say anything. If you want a teacher, part of Master Huineng's teaching is that you come and seek instructions from good no advisor. You come to me, then you know. Don't believe things that people talk about. Or nowadays, don't believe in the internet. You have to personally come. Is it clear? So there's no need for the 6th Patriarch to worry about rumors and all those things and worry about Shén Xiù and so forth. Because if the people who really are seeking, if the students of Shén Xiù who've been practicing and they are not making any progress, and they're concerned about it, then they would have come already. In contrast, those who are perfectly happy with their practice under Shén Xiu's tutelage, there's nothing wrong with that. Stay. Okay? Someone has to take care of them. Someone has to guide them. But those who were good enough and have higher aspirations would naturally come and see Master Huineng. Okay? That would help. Would get help. So that's why when Master Huineng was alive, there's no need to talk about it. Okay? But after he died, okay, after he's dead, then who's gonna propagate a certain teaching now? Okay, that's the legacy of Master Huineng. His entire career is an illustration of the certain teaching, from how he became enlightened and how he taught his disciples. So that's a very important example of the history of the Chinese certain teachings. Okay, so he had to go to the capital and fight. And I heard, I believe the capital back then has very good restaurants as well. And maybe museums. Anyway, and so he says, back to slide 248, 6th Patriarch Huineng as a real 6th Patriarch, the recipient of the Buddha's mind seal. Okay, he says, okay, the lineage of the Chan lineage, the Chan lineage, the Orthodox Buddhism lineage, went through the veins of Master Huineng. You all need to know that. Now he's gone. That's where the lineage is. The bloodline is over there, not over Shén Xiù. That's very important for the future generation. Not necessarily Shén Xiu's followers, but the future generation. Okay? So that's why he has to spell it out. Had Shén Xiù not written this book, Shén Hui not written this book, Shén Xiù would have stolen the title of 6th Patriarch because it was, the Huineng would never say and wouldn't say much and would never justify himself. Didn't bother about whatever people said about him. If Shén Xiù, who has a lot more followers, has real royal patronage, the emperor, the empresses would invite him over the royal palaces to teach the Dharma and teach a meditation and so forth. So clearly, Shén Xiù was a lot more popular, was a lot more famous, has a lot more support than Master Huineng. Then after Master Huineng is gone, then it's very easy with that kind of bigger base, broader base, for Shén Xiù to proclaim he's actually a real patriarch, not the other one. Okay? So that's why Shén Hui decided to expose it and wrote this treatise. 249. Shén Hui worked very hard to expose Shén Xiù and his cohorts at the risk of his own life. And this is from, is it our research or this is Master Hsuan Hua now? Our research, right? You didn't do this research? It is? Okay. And we have to be careful about the source of all this information because and for the sake of clarity and for the sake of precision, we just don't take any kind of materials, and we try to avoid giving you garbage. Okay, it would be a waste of our time, my time and your time. Okay, so Shén Xiù worked very hard to expose. Shén Hui worked very hard to expose Shén Xiù and risk his own life. Okay, it's very serious because you wouldn't think that the monks like Shén Hui and Shén Xiù would do anything, but even the senior monks, the high-level monks, famous monk, when you touch you encroach on their territory and steal the disciples, they get very upset. Okay, and in the history of Chinese Buddhism, you know those masters. I would venture to say some of them are enlightened. Would do things to harm them, okay, and below them, their disciples who weren't enlightened certainly would do even more stupid things. Okay, and it's typical. You don't take it the wrong way. It's just life. Okay, that's part of Buddhism as well. Okay? But it's never obvious to the point where those high-level monks will actually publicly do something to harm the others. Their disciples are very dangerous, okay, or because they're stupid. Anyway, not my business for me to expose the Chinese system. It's any system, as a matter of fact. Okay, so when you attack and criticize these great monks, their followers would not be happy, and they would do things to you, including harming you. At the time, Taiyun, meaning Great Cloud Temple, Venerable Sung Yuan queried him. Chan Master Puji is a nationally famous figure. You blame him as such, not afraid of danger to your life? Are you not afraid for your life? And Shén Hui calmly responded, "Ooh, my purpose is distinguish right from wrong. Decide guiding principles to propagate Mahayana, establish proper Dharma. How can I worry about my life?" 我为了辨别是非，决定种植。为了弘扬大圣，建立正法。Okay, so apparently a big time master back then, Sung Yuan, who admired Shén Hui, asked him. Puji seems to be Shén Xiu's name, right? His title. Okay. He's a nationally famous figure, and you blame him as fake. Aren't you worried about? Aren't you afraid for your life? And Shén Hui calmly said, "My purpose is to distinguish right from wrong." Okay, so he says, I decided to devote my life to distinguish right from wrong. Okay, meaning now he's beginning to go out from under Master Huineng's shadow. Yes.
Chan Master Puji is Master Hsuan Hua's disciple.
Oh, okay. Master Puji is so basically, I guess it would be fair to guess that Puji is actually is a disciple of Shén Xiù, and therefore, like teacher, like disciples, they proclaim they are the real Chan masters because of their knowledge. Remember, and as Huineng says, he scolded Shén Hui and says, "You only imitate others, my teachings and the teacher's teachings. You have nothing original, nothing to speak for yourself. You regurgitate, you repeat like a parakeet. That's all you are." And that's why now Shén Hui understood. He says, "My purpose is distinguish right from wrong." Okay, so decide on the guiding principles. Okay, meaning that I can distinguish right from wrong. My purpose, when I say those things, when I teach you, is in order to help you see what's right and what's wrong. Okay, because I can see it and you can't. And I decide on what is the guiding principles. Meaning what? Meaning that I'm at the level where I can be a bona fide. Is it bona fide or bona fide? Bona fide. Thank you. Bona fide teacher. So that therefore I can discern the proper guiding principles of the patriarchs. Okay? And I decided to propagate Mahayana. Okay, very important point here. Chan school is not about just meditation. Chan school is a backbone of Mahayana. So we train our disciples in a Chan school, okay, for the purpose of propagating Mahayana. It's not about building a Chan temple and then sit there and meditate and then meditate and meditate and meditate. Okay? It's to propagate Mahayana. Establish the proper Dharma, meaning that we, wherever Shén Hui went, whatever he did is the proper Dharma. That's why I mean establish proper Dharma. Li Zheng Fa, meaning Li here refers to the fact that whatever he did, everything he did is proper Dharma. He doesn't go out and build a temple for that purpose in order to establish proper Dharma. Everything he did is a proper Dharma. Okay? And if that's what I'm doing, how do I have time to worry about my life? Okay? Do you have time to worry about your life? Then you're not working hard enough. Loser. 250. Commentary. Emperor Su Zong invited him, Shén Hui, to the palace to make offerings. So the emperor was impressed and built a Chan hall within Heze temple that he used to live for him to live. We used to live for him to live. Very good. And those people called the Shans who he promoted at the time Heze lineage. Okay. So this is back then when life was good. And if you have some Chan skills, the emperor will build a temple for you. Now you have Chan skills, the other monks will kill you. So, in a way, Shén Hui is pretty impressive. But so the Emperor Suzong was impressed at Shén Hui. It's the emperors for a reason. The emperors because they met so many Buddhist masters, Buddhist monks. And so after a while, you can tell. Because the emperor is very smart. You don't get to be an emperor and stay emperor unless you're able to discern very quickly which person is dependable. Someone is real, someone is not real. Okay, so you can't fake with the emperor for too long. Emperor, of course, has tricks to reveal for you to reveal your true face anyway. So that's why they're emperors. So he invited him to the palace to make offerings. So the emperor decided that he would like to learn, make offerings, meaning that he would would come to the palace and give him, of course, what? Incense, tea, yes, and then offer food. Okay, and would offer him vegetarian feast, and after the feast, the emperor would bow down and request the Dharma. That's what it's meant by making offering from the emperor. Okay, so we invite him to come eat. Okay, so that's where the greatest chefs, vegetarian chefs, were. So cool. So Shén Hui got to eat good food, and his master did not. And build a Chan hall with Heze within Heze temple. So he recognized Venerable Shén Hui as a great Chan teacher. Okay, and so gave him the temple, and then of course the emperor, since being he's giving royal patronage to Shén Hui, he would certainly fix up the temple and make it bigger and bigger so that he can teach more people. So this is it goes without saying, okay? And so that's why there's a Heze lineage, which takes on the name of the temple he was living. All right, interesting story. 251, commentary. In 760, May 13th, Shén Hui passed away in Luoyang Heze Temple at the age of 93. Very old. His stupa was built in Luoyang Bao Ying Temple. His posthumous title is Great Master Zheng Zong. So eventually he died at the ripe age of 93. Okay, it's interesting. He died to be that old, eating all the good food from the royal kitchen. So it's okay to eat good food. Okay, that's important to know. It will not shorten your life, like the Chinese like to say. Rich food will shorten your life. Apparently will not shorten the life of a Chan monk. And so the emperor gave him a title, Great Master Zheng Zong. So basically, the emperor recognized him as an authentic teacher. Questions, comments? Next, 252. In a preface to the collection of Chan sources, Zhongmi, which is another Chan master, documented the Hezi lineage teaching. All dharmas, are like dream. All sages talk the same. Thus, false thoughts are originally quiet. The thus states are originally empty. The empty mind, spiritual knowledge that is not unclear. Thus, this empty and still perceive is your nature. Well, forgive our English a little bit. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's a one-to-one translation of from a Chinese. You don't know how hard it is to translate these things, and not only do you need to have the language skills, you need to know Chinese, you need to know English, and also you need to understand Chan as well. Okay, the third one is a big stumbling block. People don't understand Chan and try to translate Chan teachings. It's bound to fail. But at least we should get started doing the language translation, and eventually, will be cleaned up later and later and later. So this is an iterative process, if you will. Okay, I feel that it's better to have these start first. Okay, especially in Korea, for example, it's better to start with just the language for now. Okay, so that at least we use the proper jargon, we use the proper expression, so that at a literary level, it's accurate enough. Okay, and then from there on, that's the base. Okay, because we need the language, we need the jargon, and then next, similar to in the U.S. Next, then you train the people so that they understand, and they will then themselves explain that in their own language. I mean, train the Koreans to explain the Chan in Korean. Okay, just like we now explain Chan in English. We don't use Chinese to explain Chan anymore. Okay? Similarly, okay, that's the process. You understand what I'm talking about? You need the first many iterations. So right now in Korea, we are doing a lot of translation, and of course it falls short. We keep on improving on the standards and so forth, so it's a good start so far, and it has lots of room. Still leave a lot of room for improvements. Okay, so you need to understand the translation is actually an iterative process. The original translation is basically language and jargons. Okay, because let's face it, their translator levels are too low. Okay, so when you go to the advanced teachings like Sutton teaching, it has to be translated from someone who really understands the Sutton teaching. So that's why it's okay. Okay, we'll get better and better over time. So now we have in 252 we have a documentation. We get curious. I was curious as to Shén Xiù was if he dare propagate the Sutton teaching. My interest was to find out what did he teach. Okay, why did it discontinue? Why did the Hezi lineage discontinue after a while? It never became like a Wei Yang or a Lin Ji and so forth. Okay? Yes, Blue.
Master, is it because they all became suddenly enlightened?
I'm sorry?
Is it because they all became suddenly enlightened?
So there's nothing to teach? That doesn't help us. Yes.
Sorry, Master, I made a mistake earlier.
This is our research, not Master
Yeah, it
Hsuan
didn't
Hua's.
come from Master Hsuan
Master
Hua.
Hsuan Hua didn't talk about this. I noticed that. That's good. I just made a correction. This is our research. This is from the Chinese sources. That's why our translation a little bit is not as literary as the DRBA's translation. You can tell right away because we don't have the language skills. We understand the Chan side, but we don't understand the language. Okay, so it's clear. Clear. This is Chinglish, not. So, 同说, no, here, so I would say, I think I would change it a little bit here, okay? It says, in Chinese, it says, 诸法如梦, all dharmas are like a dream, okay? 诸圣同说, all the sages say, not talk the same. Does it help now? Does it help a little bit? Okay. Talk the same doesn't mean anything. It says, all the sages say this. Speak. No, it's not the same. They all say, open, colon, and then, so and so. See that? All sages say this. Does it help? Hey, Chinese person? See, the Chinese, the translation is literal. They say all sages talk the same, exactly from a Chinese, but it's not that. What they mean is all sages always speak the same thing. That follows. All the sages say the following. Okay? All the sages say the following. That's even better. Okay? See, even my English is more Vietnamese than Chinese, but it's still subpar. Okay, now, 故妄念本寂. So, therefore, all false thoughts are fundamentally still. All false thoughts are fundamentally still. That's Chan teaching. There's no such a thing, Chan teaching, as false thoughts are originally quiet. If your original thoughts are fully quiet, then there's no need for AirPods Pro. Got that? You see why? Why you use just the English language alone is not enough. Okay, you have to know what they're trying to say. Okay, so he says all false thoughts are fundamentally still. Okay, I come back to that. Okay, can you make the correction as I speak here? 沉静本空. All the thus between parentheses states are fundamentally empty. Okay? 供给之心, the empty and still mind, 灵知不昧. The empty and still mind, 灵知不昧. No wonder. So, never mind. Good try. I can criticize others, but I should encourage my own people translation. Otherwise, I have no one who wants to translate for me anymore. The empty mind is the empty and still mind has magical knowledge and is not confused. Not simple knowledge. That is not unclear. No, the mind has good knowledge. Yeah. Spiritual knowledge. That's okay. Good translation. Pure spiritual knowledge, and is not confused. Okay. 即主空即知处是如真性. And therefore, this empty and still knowing knowledge is your true nature. You got that? Okay, let's fix it and look at it again. Okay, let's do it again. All false thoughts. Okay, it's a typo here. All dharmas are like a dream. And all the sages say the following. Say so, not the following, sorry. Say so, meaning that it says all the sages are saying that dharmas are like a dream. That's what it means. Okay? This one sentence by itself is not connected to the others. So far, so good? So all sages say that all dharmas are like a dream. Very good. Next. All false thoughts are fundamentally still. Okay. Now, okay. All dharmas are like a dream, meaning that everything that you perceive, everything that you know, Confucianism, Catholicism, Buddhism, okay? All those, your cars, your house, your money, your loved ones, are but a dream. Someone says, oh, really? So my husband is not for real? Absolutely not. Isn't that cool? Yeah. See? Very powerful statement. Okay? Everything is not real. All the sages say so. Very powerful statement, declaration. So why do you keep on fighting? Huh? The food is not real. The water wasted is not real. Water is not real. There's nothing that's wasted. You understand? What Master Hsuan Hua taught his disciples, because those disciples are, they're different. So that's why he has to teach them, you economize, you have to be thrifty. Okay? Don't waste. That's fine. But you should know that all dharmas are not real. So you don't need to economize. Well, to a certain extent. You understand? You know what I'm talking about. Stop fighting, stop bitching, stop complaining. Stop attacking people. Let them waste. To a certain extent. Yeah. What? The bills? Blue, give
So when you're paying bills,
like bills from the credit card companies?
are they dreams as well?
Yeah,
for you?
electricity bills?
Yeah, are they dreams for you?
They're not real.
They're not real. Okay.
Right. And therefore, you can pay them with unreal money. Blue.
Master, you just told us that everything is unreal, even my husband. Then why do I always fight with him, even he's not real?
Because you don't see him as unreal.
But he doesn't act like unreal.
That's
he
called,
acts like...
No, honey. It's called love. This is when I need Andres, Alta-D to say, where do I begin? Okay, I need those props. One at a time. Where do I begin? Then why do you fight? Because you're confused. You don't see it as a dream. It's not about the fact that money is not real. Okay? Money, let me put it this way for you, is temporarily real, Sean. It doesn't stay real for long. So that's why for us to hang on to money as if it's something that's eternal, so important, is confusion. That's all. Of course, this is real because it's solid, okay? If you say it's not real, now how are you going to work with your computer? Okay? What not real here means that all the things you observe are just through your sense organs, which causes confusion in your mind. That's what we tell you is not real. Whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you taste, it's not real. Don't be attached to it. Meaning that, why you used to have a loving husband, enjoy him. And then once, you have real wisdom, discard him. Understand that? That's Buddhism for you. We talk on both sides of the mouth. We say it's not real, but then use him for now. Does it help? I'm serious. This is Mahayana. Because then, otherwise, then you say, then the temple is not real either. You better not think like that. You know how hard for us? It took us 3.5 years so far. We're still not ready yet. So far, so good? Don't be attached. Use it like eating a hamburger. Why am I getting so hot in here? Too much kimchi. All false thoughts are fundamentally still. False thoughts are the thoughts that keep on rising up and down, right? Jumping up and down in your mind. They're fundamentally still. Meaning what? Even those thoughts you have, the source of your thoughts, the mind, creates those thoughts, those false thoughts, right? Thoughts originate from your mind. So they fundamentally goes back to the source. Is that clear? In Buddhism, when you hear the word fundamental, but in Chinese, fundamentally, originally, it goes back to the source. The source of those thoughts is the mind, and that mind is still. Meaning, behind the mind that creates all those false thoughts. Okay? Right now. So right now I say, okay, in 3 years, I will see that my husband is not real anymore. That's a false thought, okay? That originates from the false mind. Okay? That false mind there, underneath that false mind, that's a mind that is still. From that still mind arose a false mind that produces the false thoughts. So far, so good? When you do Chan, you see those things eventually. All right? All the dust states are originally empty, are fundamentally empty. Same thing. The dust are the thing you see, the sound, the music, the French bread, California cheese, lasagna. All those, okay, are fundamentally empty. Meaning, don't be attached. It's okay. Doesn't mean you should not enjoy it. If you say it's empty, therefore I don't have to enjoy it, I don't want it. That is what? Is that true or not? That is Hinayana. Hinayana people would say, they're empty, therefore I don't want it, I don't need it. Mahayana, I said, we're empty, but we're going to enjoy it. That's the difference between Hinayana versus Mahayana. Okay? I'm not attached to money, but you can give me more money, I would not mind. That's very Mahayana. Donation button, donation button. You see that? That's very Mahayana. We don't need it, we will take it. We're not attached to it, but what the hey? You got that? Anyone ever dare explain to you that way? It takes an impure monk like me to explain to you that way. It's pure and yet impure as well. I have no desire, but I'm full of desires. That's Mahayana. That's Chan right there. I don't think Chan is like, another musical thing. Next, the empty and still mind, okay, right there, behind it all, has spiritual knowledge and is not confused, okay? Meaning that mind of yours knows a lot more than you think. You just don't allow to, you're not unleashing it, that's all. This mind of yours is capable of so much more. Creativity, genius, that you don't allow it to unfold. That's what's fascinating about that. This is why boys and girls, that's why we say we train, improve, so that your mind can unleash all those things and contribute to society. It's not talk, it's creativity. And we Mahayana practitioners are very proud of that. We want to contribute, add more, not just talk. Similarly, in my small world, I want to add more to Mahayana, add more to Chan. Okay? We all have to do that in our small corners of the world. That's Mahayana. That's Chan.
YouTube. Kenix
I'm
asks,
so tired.
in this,
Too much energy. Hungry again.
Kenix asks, in the slide it says, all dharmas are like a dream. Is it dharmas with a small d or a capital D?
Small d's. Thank you. Next. You see, we all have to pitch in. All dharma is here. Everything. It's not a D. Everything is but a dream. Very good. Do we know Kenix? Yeah, good girl, right? Yeah, okay. She's not real either. So don't mind her. Therefore, this empty and still knowing knowledge is kind of repetitive. This empty and still knowing, okay, it's not knowledge, it's knowing. The act of knowing is true nature. It's not knowledge. Knowledge is a thing. Knowing is an act. If you translate this as knowledge, it's wrong. Okay? You have to translate it as knowing. The act of knowing. It all happened tonight when I read this translated text. I said, I didn't understand it either. But true to life, true to my colors, I didn't question it until I must tonight. Because it would be too embarrassing for Wei Mountain to produce this kind of Chinglish Chan teaching. Yes, sir. Back there. Give him my microphone.
Just looking at the translation per se, between Chinese and English, because I'm not really Chan, right? Just the word "ben," I would look at it is more as an actuality than fundamentally, because it's actuality, it's as given.
It's not actuality. That's you're right. You're not a Chan person. That's
but
why.
This is only translation.
That's why you use actually. Actually,
actuality.
The truth is that fundamentally, fundamentally, it's not actually. Bun is fundamentally. Okay? The Chinese teaching is very precise. Bun has a very special meaning. It's not actually, it's fundamentally. It's originally, fundamentally. Either words are okay, but not actual. So far, so good? All right. Hey, look at Koreans are all sleepy. They all lost interest. Yeah. They're not, hey, it's English, what do we care? Yeah, let's move on. Yeah. But they have the advantages over us in that they can read the Chinese. The Chinese is much more accurate than the English translation. So yes, you Koreans can be lax and look at the Chinese. Okay, that's even better. Okay, but until then, you don't understand. You need to understand from English for me. Okay, and then if you want to understand the Chinese, most of the Chinese don't understand the Chinese anymore. So that's why I advise you to pay attention to the English. The Koreans say, oh, I'm so bored, I can't stand this. So these English people, they're fighting each other, they're arguing. No, it's for your sake as well. Okay, next. 253. This is cool. Whether confused or enlightened, I tell you the truth. Originally, I look at that, the Chinglish translation, and said, no wonder the lineage died. No one, it doesn't make sense to me. But now, after we fix it, oh yeah, of course, this makes sense. Next, let's fix the next English, okay, Koreans? Whether confused or enlightened, mind originally know itself, and not produced by condition, not arise because of state. Okay, let's fix it. 任迷, 任悟, whether confused or whether enlightened. Okay, put another whether there. Okay, 心本, 智智, the mind fundamentally knows, okay, itself. Not originally, fundamentally. Here is fundamentally. It's not actually either. It's fundamentally. It's not originally. It's fundamentally. Is that clear? 不戒言生, 不戒, right? 不戒言生. It's not produced by condition. That's correct. Okay, that's okay. But the Chinese is much better. The Chinese means, can I explain the Chinese for you Chinese people and English people? 不戒缘生, meaning that it's produced by condition, 缘生 produced by conditions, but it needs to borrow conditions to be produced. It's so beautiful. Okay? It needs to borrow, depend on conditions to be produced. But actually it's not dependent on conditions to be produced. It's so Mahayana. Okay? It's okay. You don't understand. I don't blame you. Okay? To translate as not produced by condition, it's okay. It's okay. 不因境起, not arise because of the state. That's okay. Okay. So what it means is that this mind here, whether you are confused or whether you are enlightened, so far so good. That includes all of us. We're confused, someone else is enlightened somewhere. Okay? This teaching applies to everyone. So only two states, enlightened or confused. Awakened or unawakened. All right? That's all there is to it. No one else, nothing else. The mind fundamentally knows itself. This mind here, okay, it knows. It knows it's empty. It knows it's not real. It knows it's but a dream. It knows it's okay to temporarily enjoy the pizza. That it knows. It knows you don't have to be afraid of it. Question? Huh? Internet has a question? Well, people are getting upset. Well, this small section here. Yeah, look at that. Sitting for too long. Crawl. Blue.
There's two comments. Let Go said, you don't double whether in a sentence. I suggest be it confused or be it enlightened.
You don't double whether. I like a double whether. Okay? Because I like the weather to be sometimes sunny and the same day sometimes rainy. Is that okay? Weather. Yes, blue.
Mary Jo said, does not arise because of state.
What?
Mary Jo said, does not arise because of state.
Does not arise because of state. Fine. Okay, correct. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, cool. We all pitch in. My Vietnamese English, Chinglish, and then San Diego English. Okay. He's right, of course. You know, whatever his name is, the first guy who says whether confused or enlightened, it's okay. I choose to add the weather again because to parallel the Chinese has double weather. It's for emphasis. Okay? Whether confused or whether enlightened. Whether, that's when you talk. Whether confused or whether enlightened. The stress is on whether. Okay? It's rhetorics. The mind, okay, is for emphasis. Okay? Whether. Okay? The mind fundamentally knows itself. Meaning, the mind you perceive to be confused or enlightened, okay? Yeah. Even in our confused mind, we know. You know, our instinct knows. What you call the instinct, okay? That's that true mind there knows. And it does not rely on conditions to be produced. That mind, the mind, is not produced by conditions. The original mind is not produced by conditions. Okay? It did not arise because of a state. This is the actual truth, the absolute truth, that you will see yourself when you practice Chan. So this is a gift from Master Hsuan Hua. He says, this is your mind. You know, we lucked out in that in our era, there's so much more junk being written out there. So we read this condensed teaching in one form or the others, but this is originally the condensed version from the 8th century Chan teaching. All right, it's so precise, okay? It's scary because no one understands what it means. Oh, God is more? Cube.
Master, I'm wondering if it would be the mind itself fundamentally knows, or is it really the mind is knowing itself?
That's okay, it's the same thing. You can put it where you can put itself, the mind itself fundamentally knows, or the mind fundamentally knows itself. It's the same meaning, but it depends on how you read it. Okay? The mind itself fundamentally knows. It's the same as the mind fundamentally knows itself.
I see, okay.
Does it make sense? I'm no liberal with my Vietnamese English, but that's how, to me, it's the same thing. It depends on how you read it, how you choose to stress it. Okay? Because I prefer to follow the original Chinese language. Bần xin, mind fundamentally. Zhu Chu knows, itself knows. So I prefer that translation which is more, adheres more to the syntax, the Chinese syntax, if you will. All right? See, the Koreans again are all falling asleep. Shall we skip the rest of it? Too much? 254. One word, no, door to all. Door to all wonderfulness, confused since the beginningless time, that's falsely attached to body, mind as self, produce greedy, hatred thoughts as such. If receive instruction or talk by a good friend, not a good friend. Certainly awaken to know emptiness and stillness. Thus, although practice the 10,000 practices, still only use the principle of no thought. Okay, this is all correct, of course, in Chinese. Okay, let's fix it in English. One knows one word. That opens the doors to the multitude, the one of the multitude of wonderful Dharma doors. The Chinese very concise. They, when they drop a few Chinese characters here and there, even the Chinese get confused. It's by design, so that the Chinese smart Alex, who are bookworms, don't know what they're talking about. Okay? Even if one knows one word, one knows just one word, it opens the doors to a multitude of wonderful. It opens the door. It opens to a multitude of wonderful Dharma doors. Okay, meaning that if you are enlightened, the Master gives you one word. The teaching is one word. Wu! And opens the doors to so many wonderful techniques, knowledge, approaches, schools of thoughts, methods. One word. Wu! See that? 有无始迷之 okay. Because of confusion, because of confusion since the beginningless time, okay? 过往持生心为我 because of being confused since the beginnings, forget the since beginningless time, one falsely attaches to the body and mind as the self. Okay? Give rise to greed, anger, and so forth. Give rise to the mind of greed and anger, etc. Okay, so stop, period. Okay? If can obtain the good friends, instructions. Suddenly awaken Gong Ji Chi Zhi will suddenly awaken to the emptiness and knowledge, the emptiness and stillness. So far, so good. Okay, while they're fixing that, YouTube has a question.
What does it mean by beginningless time?
Beginningless time, meaning that we've been confused for a long, long time. All of us right now, here, okay, are here because we've been confused for a long, long time in that continuing. And we don't even know when it all started. The confusion started. We were confused. We've been revolving since forever. And no one knows when it started in this wheel reincarnation. Only the Buddha knows. We don't know. Okay? So if you want the exact number, like when, what year, how many aeons ago, only the Buddha knows. And if he has to express it to us, there's not enough zeros in our computers to describe it. So that's why the word for that is beginningless time. So far, so good? Are we done? Okay, let's do it. And I fix the next phrase, and then we'll be done for the evening. I'm tired. It's too much. I don't see why. How you guys can translate all day? I do it half an hour. I'm so pooped. Okay, Korean. Are you paying attention? Look at that Korean. Oh, now they don't know. I need to wake up now. Okay. With just one word. One can open the door to the multitude. One can open, with just one word, it can open the multitude of wonderful Dharma doors. Okay? The teacher, this is what the Mahayana teaching is about. Okay? It is so ingenious that sometimes the teacher only uses one word, one Chinese character, to teach, to give instruction to this Chan student. And the Chan students, by investigating this one word, it will open the door to a multitude, okay, of Dharma doors. Right? And that's Chan teaching. Only Chan teaching would have this one word. All right? It's very, very Chan. So the Heza school that Master Hsuan Hua propagated is authentic Chan. Very high level Chan. Okay, now, next. Okay? So you can do a semicolon here because it's a different topic, if you will. Okay, because of being confused since beginningless time, one falsely attaches, not attached, attaches to the body and mind. And take it as the self. why don't you do that? Why don't you go into that mode and I'll fix it? It's quicker, so that I don't have to bother you. Okay. You can open the multi-wonderful Dharma doors, which is one falsely attaches to the body and mind and takes it. Takes it as the self. As the self. Okay? Karma, give rise, thus give rise, give rise to the mind of greed and anger, etc. And anger, etc. It can, if one can attain the good friend's instructions, one can certainly awaken to the emptiness and stillness. Okay? And thus, although practice the 10,000 practice, still only use the principle of no thought. Gu, sui, okay? And thus, and although one practices, I'm going to do the full English everything here. One still 唯以无念为宗. It's still it's still consistent with. Okay, now this is when we need to use our own language, English language, to express ourselves instead of following the Chinese blindly. Okay? So so far so good. And then thus one practices the 10,000 practices still consistent with principle of no thoughts. Okay, shrink the character size by 1 pixel, 1 whatever, to fit the whole thing into the, please, so that we can read it. Okay, very good, excellent. Okay, let me explain to you quickly. YouTube has a question, go ahead quickly.
Sarah B. asks, what does the good friends mean?
He's referring to good knowing advisor, but he's very humble. He says good friend. Okay, but for all practical purposes, it should be the good knowing advisor. It's not a good friend. Okay, if someone can give you instructions so that you can certainly become awakened, he's your good knowing advisor, it's not your friend. Okay, be more respectful. Even if he's your friend, you should bow down to him and say, thank you, my good friend. Okay? He may be your friend by name, but you should treat him like good knowing advisor. Okay? It also denotes the intention behind the instruction, because it's a friendly instruction, meaning a good friend, meaning that it means good to you. All good knowing advisors' instructions are always friendly. He says, you don't understand, that's all. That's why you think scolding is actually meanness. Actually, scolding is very friendly. Butting heads is very friendly. You really understand. With just one word, it can open the multitude of wonderful Dharma doors. Okay, the Chan instructions can be very concise, and sometimes the genius in that giving you one single character, one yell, one kick, one slap on the face. That's one word right there. Okay? One word is not necessarily confined to one word. It means just, hey! See? See what I mean? It's hey. You don't call it a word? Okay. These Cantonese people are really weird. Hey is not a word. Okay? Because of being, for having, for, drop the because of, for being confused. Since beginning of time, one falsely attached to the body and mind and takes it as a self. Very good. Okay? We are so attached to our body. Okay? That's why for monks and nuns, we are not supposed to bathe for 14 days. It's one way for us to force ourselves to become less and less attached to the body. And we smell like hell. I know of a Thai monk who is Sean's mother's friend, who hasn't taken a shower for what? Sean, you remember that Thai monk? He goes to your house often. That guy. Yeah. He says, I have not taken a shower for a few years. Something like that. And it's supposed to impress us. If you haven't taken a shower a few years, why do you have to talk about it? Seriously. Are you trying to impress me? If you don't feel it necessary to take a shower, don't tell anyone. It makes me look bad. I need to shower every week, otherwise I smell. No? Think about it. How can you be so selfish? I don't need to take a shower for 3 years. I haven't taken a shower for 3 years. I said, I just took a shower today. How insensitive. Okay? Yeah. For being confused in being, Joe Mountain has a comment. They don't take showers in Korea either.
Not exactly, but Joe Mountain's comment is Dayman Sanim told me that if you don't wash long enough, it purifies itself.
Yeah. It probably applies to the people who live in the mountains or something. Joe Mountain comment, continue.
Yeah. He told me his experience when he was doing a seclusion practice. The dirt caked and then it started to clear up itself.
For how long? He didn't tell you. Not 3 years. That's impressive. 3 years, the guy has a trick. He really has a trick to be able to do that, because I know he's not enlightened. Okay? You can do tricks on whatever you want to do, but I look at you and say, you're not enlightened, so what's the big deal? If you can shower, you don't have to shower for 3 years. And you're enlightened and say, I like to learn that way, that Dharma door. But if you're not enlightened, I'm not interested. I'm sorry. It doesn't impress me. Yes, Mr. Catholic. Oh, I'm sorry. I reveal my discriminating mind. It's hard to not discriminate, let me tell you. Yes?
So, it's just my opinion, but I think when you take a shower, it's taking care of yourself, or you should take care of others. So, I believe in taking care of yourself so you could take care of others.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels good. I love taking showers. Especially how the massaging heads. Yes, something, I don't know his color. Pink.
Pink. So is that really true? Not taking shower is one of the Dharma doors?
Yeah, it's one Dharma door. But as long as you become enlightened, I would be interested. If you're not enlightened, I'm not interested. You know, it's like, I want all the way. I don't want halfway. Okay? You too.
Brady asked, Master, isn't the final state of nothingness an elaborate method consisting of a full reductionist and deconstruction of everything to a non-state of existence?
Something like that. I don't know what he's talking about. Why is it so complicated? Yes. I would not touch it with 10-foot pole. So yes, something like that. If you're that complicated, then something is off. Okay? No, it's not that complicated. You're thinking too much. You need to use that many words. It's too complicated. Yes, Blue.
Mary Jo said, thus giving rise. Giving rise, not give rise.
Is there a complete sentence there?
Thus giving rise, not thus give rise.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because and one fully attaches and takes it as a, and thus giving rise. Very good. I heard giving rise. I said, oh, we just gave 10 bags. You want more? You're very greedy. We don't have enough rice anymore to eat. And you want more rice. And that's why I was shocked. I said, some people are really so greedy. Just giving rice. Very good. So you take the mind and the body, okay, and the mind. Mind meaning what? You're thinking. Remember, the world thinks. To think is to human, right? To be human, to be a person, you need to think. Baloney, okay? That's the ego right there. The mind, there's a self right there. Thus, giving rise. Fix the giving rise to the mind of greed and anger. Yes, of course. You know, if you have a self, then you have greed, you have anger, and etc. All those wonderful things. If one can obtain the good no advice instructions, if one can get, forget obtain, attains to formal, can get the good no advisors, good friends, good no advisor instruction, one can suddenly awaken to the emptiness and stillness. Well, that's of course you will. Don't worry. Next, thus, although one practices 10,000 practices, is still consistent with principle of no thought. That's correct as well. Okay? If you don't understand, it's okay. Someday you will. Yes?
This is from Jane. I meant Shan Xiù being an adjective in the context. It can be translated as getting the kind and friendly instruction.
Shan Xiù. So translate as what? Good and friendly?
Kind and friendly instruction.
Oh, it's even better. Thank you, Chinese person. It's beautiful. Oh, I learned something new tonight. Oh, I was so bored for 2 hours. Good Lord. This makes my night. Thank you. Thank you, friendly Chinese person. So one can get the good and kind instruction, yes? Kind and friendly instruction. Excellent. Yeah, I love it. Fix it, Jinglish person. Okay? It's excellent. Oh, that's so beautiful. I missed that. Yeah. This is why you need a real language, no? Okay, the Taiwanese disagree with the Chinese. Go figure. You know, they don't get along, the Chinese and Taiwanese, for some reason. Yes, go ahead, Taiwanese person. Blue, green, whatever. Go ahead, Taiwanese.
I think she meant 友善. Like if it's 善友, it probably means someone, a good friend. If it's 友善, it's kindness and friendly.
Okay, Chinese person, what do you have to say for yourself? But about Shan Yu, same thing to me. I mean, for us, non-Chinese and Taiwanese people, it's just all the same. No? Okay, we let the next time we fix this. Okay, I don't have time to listen to the argument between the Chinese and the Taiwanese. I'm sorry. All due respect. Okay, you work it out among yourselves. Okay. Okay. No. But in the interest of sharing, okay. To me, that's important. It's okay to disagree. Okay, just kill the other. Yes, Blue.
Let Go said, I agree with the comment on 友善. Kind and friendly gives no meaning of wisdom.
Shan. So I don't know what is this person siding with the Taiwanese or the Chinese?
Taiwanese.
So 2-1. 2 for Taiwan, 1 for China. Still wrong. The Cantonese, the Hong Kong umbrella people disagrees regardless. Now we have 3 camps. It's getting more complicated. Yes, Blue.
Jane said, in Old Chinese, the order of the adjective may be the opposite of the modern ones.
Okay, so still 2-1 though. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, work it out, huh? Okay, send the nuclear submarines. Send in the nuclear submarines. Okay, next. Okay, we'll fix it next time. Okay, we agree, come to an agreement. Is that okay? Okay. Thus, although one practices 10,000 practices, it's still consistent with principle, no thought. Yes. So it's correct. Okay. So that's why, therefore, 255, Shén Xiù Chan is known as no thought Chan. No will, no thought. Okay. Is no thoughts. That's correct. That's a good translation. Okay? Okay, so far we complete 1 teaching of the Hezi school. Okay? Congratulations. Good job. Okay, we should get out of the way so that the Taiwanese and Chinese settle among themselves. Is there anyone who has a 49-day thing here tonight? Would you like to do the transference, or you want me to do it quietly, privately? It's up to you. It's a Chan thing, that's why we take a lot of liberties. Huh? It doesn't affect anything. It's a ceremony, so for the people, you guys are like, ceremonies, you feel better, I have no problems. Anyone? I'm giving you a lazy way out. Let me interpret that for you. Because we ran over time already. We were 8 minutes over. We're supposed to be done by 9:20, and then add 8 minutes for the rebirth transference. But since we went overboard, and there's so much infighting between the Chinese and Taiwanese, Okay, thank you everyone. It's been real. Oh, I like it tonight. Huh? Okay, back to reality tomorrow night. No more daydreaming. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Bye-bye. Next time, 2:56.